Anti-LGBTQ Publications is charged with rape, sexual battery, and sexual imposition involving minors, and allegations spanning years.
Georgia activists defeat 15 anti-LGBTQ+ bills, providing strong public support and unity can overcome political attacks on queer communities.
6 were arrested protesting Idaho's trans bathroom law inside the Capitol. Activists warn criminal penalties will endanger transgender people statewide.
LGBTQ households in the U.S. doubled over 2 decades, reflecting marriage equality, stronger incomes among couples, and growing acceptance across the country.
Trump administration rolls back protections for transgender students, ending Title IX agreements, and weakening enforcement against gender identity discrimination nationwide.
All this important LGBTQ+ news and more this evening on Queer News Tonight. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show, broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 12 million views.
We're proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida. We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in the Rainbow family. There is no other news program of the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Tuesday, April 7th, and we are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we will tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show. Hotspots magazine Happening Out Television Network is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but created for the LGBTQ community. Our nonprofit mission is to support the 11 pillars of our community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network. In 2026, our magazine is celebrating 41 years on the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 14,000 LGBTQ television stories.
We represent South Florida's major LGBTQ events, including Pride Fort Lauderdale, Stonewall Pride, and Pride Fest. Our magazine, events, and television news talk and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ community and the broader community in general.
In 2026, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this table and share their voice as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ community. Let's meet this evening's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Will Haas. Will is a bi-coastal real estate professional and is the past president of the South Florida's most popular gay social club, the Bears of South Florida. He also serves as a realtor with Exit Realty of Naples and an advisory board member of Freedom Waters. Welcome to the show, Will.
Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
Good to see you.
Same here. I'm looking forward to tonight's show. A lot of fun stories.
I'm glad that you were here to do the roar over me. You're much better at it. Let's welcome anchor Robert Hadley. Reverend Hadley is a deacon with Holy Angels National Catholic Church and part-time with Hotspots Happening Out as an event manager and occasional photographer. Welcome to the show, Robert.
Good to be here again. And I have my Bear Pride.
Oh,
nice. All right.
Marie.
That's great. That's great.
I don't remember. Could we get you a rah?
I did.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Jeff Oliverio. Jeff is the founder and president of the Hollywood Pride LGBTQ Council and serves as the co-chair for the upcoming 6th annual My Hollywood Pride, which returns in January 2027. He also serves on the Save Gala Committee. Jeff is a director and certified financial planner with Truist Wealth based in Fort Lauderdale. Welcome to the show, Jeff.
I'm happy to be here and good to see everyone. I'm Jeff Oliverio, and let's queer up the USA view. Anti-LGBT professor charged with child sexual abuse faces multiple felony counts in Ohio case. A university professor known for publishing anti-LGBTQ plus works is facing multiple felony charges involving alleged sexual abuse of children in Ohio. John Kent Tarwater, 55, of Greene County, has been charged with 2 counts of rape, 3 counts of sexual battery, and 3 counts of gross sexual imposition. The allegations span from August 2019 to July 2025. According to Dayton 24/7 Now, one alleged victim was under the age of 13 at the time. Authorities say Tarwater allegedly used force or the threat of force to compel compliance. Tarwater has denied all charges. His bail has been set at $1 million, a figure his attorney argued is typically associated with murder cases. As of now, the Greene County Sheriff's Office confirms he remains in custody. Tarwater was dismissed from his contract at Cedarville University in October after being placed on administrative leave in July, when the university first learned of the allegations. Tarwater is scheduled for a pretrial hearing on April 28th, with a jury trial expected to begin in June. Well, while we know that you are innocent until proven guilty, I will just go on experience of most people that we find that are accused of these crimes, especially that are protesting other people's sexuality, have some issues in their own closet that are unresolved. I will say he did publish several books that were, hateful towards the LGBTQ community, some of which are still for sale on Amazon. So what I did today was I went on Amazon and I filed a complaint and I listed the news story about this sexual predator of where they are still selling his books. So I hope that Amazon goes out and removes his books from sale so he doesn't make any more money from his hateful rhetoric.
That just, it's sad, especially with kids and stuff. There's no excuse. And you're protesting how bad the LGBTQ public is. And here you are doing 3 times worse, if not 10 times worse, to innocent kids.
Yes, and although it's a bail that's set for someone who commits murder, I would put this on par of abusing children should be pretty equal to committing murder.
I agree. The abuse of children is paramount to safety in your community. My son, I'd do anything for him, and same with your kids.
Of course.
And I think it's irreproachable.
Yeah, I think it's the lowest form of human. Well, there is no other queer and nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.
I'm William Haas, and let's queer up the USA View. Georgia lawmakers defeat all anti-LGBT+ bills in 2026 session. Advocates celebrate statewide victory. The civil rights organization announced the outcome in Blue Sky Post, stating, after a late night at the Capitol to finish out what the 2026 legislative session, we could not be more excited to share we did it. We successfully defeated all of the nearly 15 pieces of anti-LGBTQ legislation, end quote. Executive Director Jeff Graham credited widespread public support for the results. He said, quote, the session stopped every bill targeting the LGBTQ Georgians, even in spite of underhanded political maneuvers deployed over the last few weeks. Thousands of Georgians from over 60 counties have come together to successfully defeat every last one, end quote. Reports indicate the defeated measures include HB 54, which sought to ban puberty blockers through an amended healthcare bill. SB 1, also known as the Riley-Gaines Act, targeted trans student athletes, access to locker rooms, and SB 74, which proposed penalties for librarians providing LGBTQ+ books to minors. Graham added that through the state's leadership has been fixating on restricting queer rights over the past years, it is now clear that the scapegoating queer Georgians is not a winning political tool. Well, good for Georgia. I'm really happy. Georgia's come a long way, and it's more states should think like this, and I'm proud of all the Georgians that did this, and actually the force that went into effect to influence the leaders to think this way, and it's positive thinking, and more states need to be like this.
The format for this was, and this is not just in Georgia, but across many states, of course, was Equality Florida was really the lead on kind of bringing the way to kind of fight these bills. Obviously, we were on the forefront of that here in Florida, and Equality Florida was able to work to get, again, almost all of those bills not passed or defeated in the Florida legislature. And so that footprint, as it started to expand across the country, Equality Florida, and I was actually last year at their gala, was speaking about that they have been able to kind of export their process of what they've been doing to help other states defeat these terrible bills.
That's good. We could share our knowledge and win, and go as a front, and let's defeat all the other states next.
Yeah. So I guess one of the advantages of being here in Florida is we were on the forefront of the attacks against our community, and now are being able to use that experience to help other states.
I think I have Georgia on my mind.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So it's good to hear, and congratulations, Equality Georgia. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.
I'm Robert Hadley. Let's queer up trans rights. 6 were arrested in Idaho Capitol sit-in protesting trans bathroom law that took effect in July. 6 protesters were arrested inside the Idaho State Capitol after staging a sit-in the men's restroom to oppose a new transgender bathroom law. The demonstrators occupied the space for nearly 2 hours, chanting and drawing attention to how enforcement House Bill 752 could unfold when it takes effect in July. Police detained the group, citing disruption rather than the bathroom use. Officers said the protest had become also too loud for the working Capitol building. This sit-in follows another protest earlier that week. On April 1st, 9 individuals were arrested after refusing to leave the governor's office entryway while demanding a meeting about the legislation. That protest, led by faith leaders and LGBTQ advocates, ended with arrests on trespassing charges. House Bill 752, signed by the Governor Brad Little on March 31st, makes it a crime to enter public facilities do not align with the person's sex assigned at birth. A first offense under this new bill carries up to 1 year in jail. A second conviction could up to 5 years in jail, 5 years in prison. That's almost embarrassing. I'm glad the faith leaders were there. I actually know someone who was there for that.
Oh, really?
Wide-reaching people. And it is impressive what people can do together. Again, the change happened in Georgia. This is still Idaho. Idaho is more backwater than
absolutely.
Idaho, apparently. But changes can happen eventually. Again, it's about transgender rights. Less than 1% of the population. So many bills and inches against the boogie people.
It's a shame.
Well, the thing that this story brings up is, with having peaceful protests, is the bill that Governor DeSantis is putting forth that can label you for protesting as a domestic terrorist, and they can use force against you. So, what our First Amendment rights are to be able to free speech and to protest are also now being attacked. So, trying to fight back against terrible bills and rhetoric, or doing things like peaceful protests, sit-ins, and things of that nature are now trying to be used against those communities to be labeled as a domestic terrorist. Interesting from the party who actually has domestic terrorists who actually tried to take over the Capitol on January the 6th. So very interesting, but not just more irony. Yes, just more irony. So interesting, but congrats to those protesting in Idaho. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.
I'm William Haas, and let's queer up gay culture. Same-sex households double in U.S. as marriage equality faces renewed political pressure nationwide. According to new data from the U.S. Census Bureau, shows that number of same-sex couple households in the United States has more than doubled over the past 2 decades. In 2024, about 1.7 million U.S. households were headed by same-sex couples, which is roughly 1% of all households. This is up from approximately 777,000 in 2004. Of course, around 863,000 were married couples, while about 551,000 were unmarried. Married same-sex couples have outnumbered unmarried couples since 2015, following the U.S. Supreme Court landmark decision Oberfeld versus Hodges, which legalized marriage equality nationwide. Census data also highlights demographic and economic shifts. Married lesbian couples now outnumber married gay men couples, reversing trends from 2004. Median household income for lesbian couples reached $108,000 compared to $104,000 for male couples. Despite similar employment rates, globally, 40 countries have legalized same-sex marriage. since the Netherlands became the first in 2001. In the U.S., support has risen to 63%, up from 35% in 2001. I'm excited to see these numbers, that more people are getting married, and, gay men and lesbian couples just want to go be normal like everybody else. They want to participate and be an active part of our community. And why defeat that? Why, if two people love each other, are you going to defeat them and put them down? There's no reason for that. The world's big enough. The astronauts have showed photos, of how big the world is and how we think it's a small little pinhole. And there's so much land to share that why can't everybody just live in peace and just get along?
Yeah, absolutely. I find it's interesting, again, the census data is always as good as the people that fill it out, right? Mm-hmm. So you don't really 100% know, that there is still such a large population, I'll put myself in that category, so I guess I can't really question it, of same-sex couples that are not legally married. Mm-hmm. On the basis of the protections that you receive as a married couple, Social Security benefits, which I think is one of the biggest ones. I think as a financial advisor, talking to clients about, God forbid something happens to one of you and the other person has, a better Social Security benefit, they would not be eligible for it if you are deceased, if you're not legally married. So there's a lot of benefits that are being left on the table. And especially under the current administration, I did, at one point there was kind of like a little bit of a rush for people to feel like they were going to, maybe the Supreme Court was going to overturn it. And again, that would be past the census data anyways, of the last study.
I'm surprised the White House hasn't whitewashed this information yet, scrubbed it from the sites. But yes, if those unmarried, I can take care of you for that.
We have a pastor on call here at Queer News Tonight.
Call in now.
Yes. Well, there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight. I'm Jeff Oliverio, and let's queer up the USA view. Trump administration ends federal oversight in trans student discrimination cases nationwide. The Trump administration is reversing federal civil rights enforcement in cases involving discrimination against transgender students. The U.S. Department of Education has begun terminating or rewriting settlements that previously required schools to treat gender identity discrimination as a violation of Title IX. These agreements, negotiated through the Office for Civil Rights, followed investigations that found transgender students were denied equal access to education. One example is Pennsylvania's Delaware Valley School District, where a 2015 federal probe concluded officials failed to address sex-based discrimination against a transgender student. A 2016 settlement required the district to expand protections defining gender-based discrimination to include gender identity, gender expression, and transgender status. It also mandated staff training and policy reforms. At the time, federal officials stated Title IX prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex in education programs and activities operated by recipients of federal financial assistance. That position has now changed. In a February 25th letter, the Office for Civil Rights confirmed that the OCR terminates the resolution agreement and any obligations thereunder. The move is part of a broader rollback affecting multiple states. Again, the theme of the attacks on the transgender community continue. I can only state from being kind of on the front lines here in Broward County as the protections for transgender students in Broward County, Broward County was on the forefront at the time when I was involved with PFLAG of doing a lot of things to help protect transgender students. It is the most vulnerable time of their lives. We know the suicide rates are already high amongst teens. You put transgender teens in there, it's off the charts. And then also they're just going to school to get an education and to better themselves and to not realize the protections that are needed for this class of students who deserve education equal to any other students. It's appalling. And someday Donald Trump will meet his
in most of these stories are good for our youth. And what was the first story about someone attacking youth? Mm-hmm. This is a common theme of a certain party of attacking our youth.
Yeah.
If we're going to protect them, how are we protecting our youth? With the criminals and these dreadful laws.
I mean, it shouldn't be how we put these students down or segregate these students. It should be these laws being passed on how we can protect all students, because all students deserve to be treated equal, but also to be, protected. from people, and also education. Education should be free for all, no matter who you are or what you are. It's not about sex. It's about just educating our future of our country.
Listen, it's going to lead to more, transgender students dropping out of school. If it's going to be things like, again, not having access to the bathroom of the gender that they're identifying as, not being able to use their name correctly, not being able to use their pronoun correctly, feeling like they're singled out. I mean, there's so many things that will just prevent them from getting an education by repealing these protections. It's scary time, very scary time. Well, there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight. LGBTQ 1 Minute News, let's queer up gay culture. Hotspots magazine highlights grooming tips to keep your pup pride ready. Our Hotspots Happening Out LGBTQ lifestyle magazine, Hotspots, is back with a feature on essential dog grooming tips to keep your furry friends clean, healthy, and looking their best. From nail trimming every 3 to 4 weeks to proper brushing based on coat type, the guide offers practical at-home care advice. It's all about keeping your pup happy, healthy, and camera ready. This feature story and many more are included in your free copy of the upcoming issue of Hotspots magazine on stands this Thursday, April the 9th. Sounds like some exciting, fun stuff in Hotspots for your pets, getting them pride ready.
My dog will be happy.
Dogs are our kids sometimes. So.
Yep.
This is true. This is true.
And mine's spoiled.
Well, that is an LGBTQ 1 Minute News story. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up. Let's head up the worldview. Belarus lawmakers advance bill targeting LGBTQ plus expression with fines, detention, and crackdowns. Belarus lawmakers have approved a bill introducing penalties for what authorities describe as, quote, promoting of homosexuality, gender transition, and childlessness, and pedophilia, end quote. The legislation passed the upper chamber on Thursday after clearing the lower house last month. It now awaits the signature of President Alexander Lukashenko, who is expected to sign into law. Under the proposed measures, those who accuse of, quote, promoting such ideas could face fines, community service, or up to 15 days of administrative detention. Homosexuality was decriminalized in 1994 in Belarus, but it does not recognize same-sex relationships or provide legal protection for LGBTQ plus people. We need to stand together throughout the world and face all this craziness and its contradiction in what they accept and what they don't. And I'm sorry, folks, we're all going through this together, but let's make a unified front and fight all these people.
Yeah, it certainly highlights the need for, hopefully, Ukraine to come out ahead of this, exactly. Considering they're surrounded by countries like this, and on top of the fact Belarus is obviously heavily controlled by, Russian propaganda as well, who have a lot of the same policies, against the LGBTQ community.
Exactly.
This is an LGBTQ 1 Minute News story. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.
LGBTQ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up entertainment. Lady Gaga canceled the Montreal show hours before the start over health concerns. Her show was scheduled to be in Montreal April 6th. She canceled it hours ahead of time, stating health issues. The singer shared the situation on Instagram, citing a worsening respiratory infection. She wrote, "I'm sorry to share that I'm unable to perform tonight. I have to cancel the show. I've been fighting a respiratory infection for the past few days and doing everything I can to rest and recover, but it's gotten worse. To everyone who was coming tonight, I'm absolutely heartbroken and sorry," end quote. Gaga previously performed in Montreal on April 2nd and 3rd as part of her tour, which is set to conclude April 13th at Madison Square Garden in New York City. I'm sorry and hope you get well.
You send her flowers?
I will, perhaps.
I mean, she suffered from that same respiratory issue for her last concert here in Miami as well. So, and listen, being on the road is not easy, and nobody wants to see Gaga cough, cough on stage. So, good luck, Lady Gaga. Well, hope to see you April 13th.
That is an LGBTQ 1 Minute News story. There's no other queer news nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.
LGBTQ 1-minute news update. Let's queer up more entertainment. Caitlyn Jenner seeks $439,000 from the state of Sophia Hutchins, her estate. Caitlyn Jenner has filed a creditor's claim against the estate of her late friend, Sophia Hutchins, seeking about $100,000 in unpaid expenses. Hutchins died in 2025 following an ATV crash near Jenner's home in Malibu, California. Her death certificate affirms she died from multiple blunt force injuries. Jenner alleges Hutchins had access to her cards for work purposes and was expected to repay the personal expenses, which she claims did not happen before Hutchins' death. According to TMZ, Jenner's claim includes credit card charges, cash advances, and shared legal fees. The claim was filed in November 2025, was authorized by the estate in March 2026. Oh, sorry. It happened in Malibu.
Happened in Malibu. Anything that happens with Caitlyn Jenner is certainly not something that we like to talk about very much. But I will say to Caitlyn Jenner, don't lend your credit cards out. It's not a good idea. Well, that is an LGBTQ 1-minute news story. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight. LGBTQ 1-minute news. Let's queer up sports. Out, Megan Rapinoe calls IOC trans women ban horrible, slams policy as harmful and exclusionary. Out, lesbian soccer star Megan Rapinoe is speaking out against the International Olympic Committee after it decided to ban trans women from women's Olympic events. On the April 3rd episode of her podcast, A Touch More, Rapinoe called the policy horrible and rejected its title, The Protection of the Women's Category. She said, quote, "I can't believe that they're calling it this because it has nothing to do with protecting women," end quote. Rapinoe argued the move reinforces invasive scrutiny and exclusion. She linked the decision to broader anti-trans rhetoric, saying the campaign is to hate trans people. Again, this trans people in sports is just the drum that will not stop pounding. It's in state legislatures. It's Donald Trump holding it about if we don't ban trans athletes in sports, he's not going to pass any more bills in Congress. I mean, it is their favorite topic. The sad part is that it impacts such a small percentage of humans in the population, especially in competitive sports. Again, the Olympics, that is a different level if you've gotten to the Olympics, but where it really impacts, what I think is the saddest, is for kids that are playing high school sports or younger kids who are really just doing it for fun and for health reasons and for sportsmanship and camaraderie. So it's sad.
This being 1%, less than 1% of the population in general, I'm glad that Hotspots happening out, we're making this news for people to hear, because these are important issues. People think that the boogie people, trans people will always be there. They've been there forever. Now to be more media centralized and out there. So I'm glad that Hotspots happening out in Queer News Tonight are taking advantage and showing these messages of discrimination out to the world.
Agreed. That is an LGBTQ 1-minute news story. There is no other queer and nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight. These are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. Our anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ family.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Don't forget to join the conversation on your favorite streaming platforms. Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the entire world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Jeff Oliverio, and I thank you for joining us on behalf of my fellow LGBTQ anchors here at Queer News Tonight, Will Haas and Robert Hadley. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. Into our LGBTQ+ world, we wish you a good night.